Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It has been a while. If you're new to the channel, I'm Blaine and you're watching Flat Broke Outdoors. If you've been around for a while, you know I haven't made a video in a while. So kind of what led up to that was just before the week before the Easter holiday, we decided to go visit my in-laws up in Wisconsin. And then we had planned a glamping trip way up in northern Wisconsin after that. So we got there and we had a had a great visit with the family and Easter supper and all that stuff. And then a big snowstorm came on the day that, I guess, the night before we were going to travel up to northern Wisconsin and camp out. So we decided not to travel that day. And then the place where we were going to stay, they actually took on some damage from the snow. It was so heavy. It was just I think they got about 14 or 15 inches up there, and it took some trees down and damaged some buildings and things of that nature. So we didn't go up there. We ended up staying a full, I think, 10 days with my in-laws. So we got a lot of visiting time, and it's always good to spend time with them when we can, for sure. So anyway, so that's kind of where I've been. And when we came back, my wife and I stumbled upon a project that we decided to take on together. And I'll show you that in just a second. So we've been working on that for, I don't know, 3 or 4 days, just trying to get a few things right before we start. And I won't keep you in suspense any longer. I will show you the project that we're working on. It's right there. We got an ambulance. So we are turning the ambulance into a camper. My wife named this thing. Now, if you're a fan of the TV show Friends, you'll get this. She named it Regina Falambulance. So that's what it is. And you're not going to see this a great deal on this channel. It's going to be on an entirely different channel. You'll still see my mug on the other channel, but you may see my wife on that one too. And it will be a lot to do with camping and different places, traveling, that kind of stuff. So it'll be an interesting channel. But anyway, so that's what we've been working on. Let's see. Let me spin this thing around. Bear with me one side. I got you all spun around here. So that is Regina, the Falambulance. So it is a 1992 E350 with the 7.3 diesel in it. So it's it's pretty fair ride. Obviously it's going to need some work, but hopefully we have the time to do that. I'm gonna strip that whoopee light bar off of there and get rid of all the amber lights on. I mean, I've already unhooked them. They don't work. I mean, they do work, but I disconnected them. But I'll get rid of all that stuff, and we're beginning to get some of the decals off of it. It's slow going. My hands don't work very well, so grabbing onto that vinyl and pulling on it, it's kind of a drag, and it's going to be extremely time consuming. But luckily we have time. But all in all, it's a pretty fair rig. I got nothing bad to say about it at this point, and I'll take you inside in a second. But there's my little camp setup. I just threw some stuff into this thing today. I told my wife, I said, I need to go camping. I need to make a video. She's like, well, go. So I thought, maybe I'll take that doggone ambulance. And she said, take it, go. So I cleaned it up a little bit on the inside. We've been working on the inside some today, and it was kind of a mess in there. And it still is a little bit, but I'll take y'all in there. Just bear with me here. All right, so here's coming in the door. There's a set of cabinets right here. And coming up, there is another cabinet up there. And cabinets there. and cabinets there and over there. The lighting is not too good in here at the moment. I turned all the interior lights off. I don't have my solar on this yet, but it does have plenty of lights, as you can see down the ceiling. All those lights work. But we built this bed platform. It's definitely a work in progress. This is just a mattress out of my rooftop tent I threw in here. We actually have a full-size mattress that actually fits this bed frame, but I did not want to bring it camping with me because I camp differently than my wife does. My wife doesn't do fires, like wood fires. She'll do propane fire, but not wood fire. It messes her up. So I didn't want the whole thing smelling like campfire for her. So I just brought my stuff. Anyway, there's a whole set of cabinets right there and underneath there. And I guess the big thing is when you're working on a project like this is how much of it do you keep and how much of it do you dispose of and build your own. Let me spin y'all back around here. Hold on. So when you start thinking about that, getting rid of stuff and building new stuff, it becomes a lot of money. And that's something that I don't plan on spending on this. This is all about on a budget, and I do have a very, very small budget. So we're going to keep a lot of the actual ambulance stuff. I will put solar on the top. I'm actually going to take the solar off of my rooftop tent and put on here for now. And underneath this cushion right here is where the inverter is. But there's only two batteries on the truck itself. Excuse me. So, and that inverter is connected to them. So if the vehicle, it has a super high output alternator. So if the vehicle's running, it'll run whatever you want to on the 110 sockets. But I have 2 power stations, and when I get the solar on top, I will run it to the big power station, and that'll be all we need for the foreseeable future anyway. At some point, I might put some lithium batteries on board and do all of that stuff. That's a lot of money. No matter, even if you get the cheap ones, it's a lot of money. And I really don't want to do that right now. So anyway, so this is kind of what we're working on. It's definitely a work in progress for sure. We are going to keep that up there. That is the, excuse me, the existing heat and air conditioning. So that will stay for a while. I am going to put a diesel heater in it. That's something that is within the budget. I'll put a diesel heater under one of these benches and vent it out. So that'll happen. And right over there, where the power station's sitting, a sink will go in there. And then just beyond that, outside, there's outside compartment over there. And that's where all the water storage will be. It'll get probably a 35 or 45 gallon RV water tank is what I see putting in there. And then, I'll bring y'all probably some on this channel and then some on my wife's channel that I will let y'all know what it is when I remember what it's going to be. There's nothing on there now, but it's all going to start with this ambulance, her channel. So it does have, come around here, it's got more storage than you can shake a stick at. It's got storage box there, back there. It's just more storage than you can think of what to do with. And that's kind of the stage I'm in right now, wondering what in the world to do with all that storage. But we'll figure it out. There's going to be a diesel heater on board. There will be onboard water. There will be a shower inside. And I'm not going to tell you exactly where that's going to be. I do have it planned out. where it's going to be, but I'll bring y'all up to speed on that later. So if you have any, I mean, if you are someone who's redone an ambulance or have some ideas, put them in the comments. I'm all ears because number one, I'm not a carpenter, so it took me and my wife both to build that bed platform, and we'll find out how long it's going to hold up. I mean, I feel like it's safe enough, but anyway, enough about that. I haven't been camping in so long. I feel like I need to get some coffee on first, and then get a fire going. I'm hungry as a hostage, so we got to cook something. So y'all bear with me, and we'll get this camping trip underway. All right, everybody, we're getting this coffee rolling. Let me get this set in there. Got the lid on tight. Get the fire turned up. I am going to dispose of these bottles and get us a fire going. Y'all hang in there. I'll be right back. All right, everybody, we got the fire going. Coffee just got done percolating. Got our little lantern lit here. Get some of this coffee right quick. Oh, snap. Hold on. Never mind. Oh. That ought to do just fine. In just a little bit, when this fire burns down just a little bit and I drink a little bit of coffee, we're going to roast some, they're Oscar Mayer brand. They're called Smokies. They don't have any cheese or any jalapenos or anything of that nature. But we're just going to roast some of those, I do believe. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. I don't know, can't make up my mind what I want to do. But anyway, we're going to roast some of those. And I got some chips and some jalapeno hummus dip. And that's what we're going to do for supper tonight. So y'all hang in there and I'll get to cooking in just a little bit. All right, everybody. Hopefully it ain't, excuse me, hopefully it ain't too dark. Hopefully the camera's picking this up. But we're going to get us a couple of these bad boys on here. Sorry we're not cooking anything fun and extravagant tonight. But like I said, this was a very impromptu trip. And I tell you, it started off kind of rough anyway, because once I got everything packed up, cleaned up, packed up, whoo, that's hot. And I jumped in the shower, got all my stuff, loaded it up, told my wife I would see her tomorrow or the next day, and I set out. I got about a mile, yeah, roughly a mile from my house. Maybe not even a mile, maybe a half a mile. Anyway, I got a short distance from my house, and the old ambulance started running rough as a cob. It was like choking, but had never done that. It's a pretty good runner. So I thought, how strange. So I went ahead and turned out on the highway and pointed the direction I wanted to go, and it just quit. I was up to about maybe 35 or 40 miles an hour, and it just quit. So there was a little place on the left-hand side of the road. I don't know if it's a business or somebody's personal shop or what it was, but it had a fairly good-sized gravel parking lot. So, excuse me, I pulled in there and was trying to think of what my next move might be. You know, I wasn't far from the house. I could have just called my wife and had her bring my truck, and we could have pulled it home. And then I could have thought, well, you know, I called my buddy Sam. He just lives less than a mile from where I was. He could have pulled me home. And then I thought, I pay a lot. Well, I don't pay a lot. I pay money every year for AAA. So I said, I think I'll just call AAA and capitalize on that. So I called AAA and made a claim or whatever you call it. And they told me that the tow truck was going to be 45 minutes to an hour out. I thought, man, I got to sit here an hour from my house waiting on a doggone tow truck. So I got to think, scratching my head and thinking, what in the world? I mean, it went from running perfect to not running at all. So in my mind, I'm not a diesel mechanic by any stretch, but I did drive semis for quite some time, so I do know a little bit about them. So I thought to myself, the only thing that I can think of, because it wasn't electrical, everything electrical was fine. So I thought maybe by chance the fuel gauge is broken. Excuse me. Because it had, I don't know, a little over half a tank when I got it. And I drove it quite a ways. It came from way up by Bull Shoals Lake. So, and I remember thinking, man, this thing gets some ridiculous gas mileage for a big old heavy truck. And I thought, man, could it be? Could it be that the gas gauge just doesn't work? And sure, I called my wife and I asked her, I have a 5-gallon jug of diesel at home that I keep for my diesel heater. And it just so happened it was full. And she brought me that jug of fuel. And I thought, well, it'd be a miracle if I put this in here and not have to bleed the lines. Which that's a horse of a whole nother color. And I wouldn't want to do that in somebody's driveway, because you're going to get some diesel fuel around when you, I don't know if you know anything about bleeding air out of the lines, but you have to go to each injector and loosen them up a little bit, crank it over, and then it'll start spitting fuel when it's getting fuel. Anyway, I didn't really want to do that in somebody's parking lot or driveway, whatever it was. And I thought, I'm going to take a chance. So she brought me the jug fuel. I put it in there. And I thought, well, I'll cross my fingers and hit the key. It cranked over for about 15 seconds and fired right up. I told my wife, I said, I'm going to the gas station. I'll let you know when I get to my camping spot. So I went and fueled it up. Sure enough, it was empty as it could be. So that's another hurdle I got across, is fixing that gas gauge. I don't know if it's sending unit or the gauge itself, or it's a little bit of a headache, but I'll get it fixed. I'm sure it's something that's not going to be super expensive to do. And then it's got excuse me, one headlight that's a little loose. Not sure what's going on there. They really customized the front of those ambulances when they add the sirens and the blinky lights up there in the hood. Matter of fact, they cut quite a bit of the hood away. In the early 90s models of these Econolines, that hood comes down and meets the grill down pretty low. So they cut away quite a bit of it to mount those sirens and blinky lights. So I don't know if they jacked something up with the mounting point for the for the headlight bucket or what it was, but anyway, I'll get to the bottom of that. Rome wasn't built in a day. Money don't grow on trees. All that cliche stuff. But anyway, I'll get it fixed. So that's kind of where we're at with that. It's a little embarrassing when you're sitting on the side of the road like that, and you never know when somebody is going to pass you and be like, what in the world? Of course, nobody I knew passed. If they did, they didn't stop. They didn't care that I was sitting there. Of course, most people aren't used to seeing me drive around in an ambulance either. But anyway, I did call AAA back and cancel that tow truck that was on its way. supposedly. I've used them several times in the past. The AAA that I get is, I don't know, it's a premium type membership. They're actually, if you're broke down and you got a bad battery, they're actually supposed to bring you a new battery. And that's happened to me twice over the years. I've had AAA for a lot of years. And it's happened to me 2 times over the years, and at no point have they ever given me a free battery. But with the particular service that I do get every year, they'll tow you up to 200 miles, which, typically when I break down, I'm not a mile away from home. I'm a long ways away. So AAA, I believe, is good to have. It's come in handy for me several times. A few tows, a few jump starts, and if my wife's ever out, I don't expect her to change a tire. I mean, I'm sure she can. She probably change a tire quicker than I can with my little crippled self, but I don't want her to have to. I want AAA to send somebody out there and take care of her. That's what it's for. And no more than it costs. I think everybody who drives a vehicle should have AAA. They have lockout service, jump service, bring you gas, change your tire, whatever, tow you, whatever you need. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's a good investment to have. We do have some pretty good future plans for the old ambulance. I don't know how quick we'll get around to getting it. I want it to be, up to par. I don't want to get a mile from my house. We're thinking about we're gonna take us a long trip. I don't want any breakdowns. So, I'm gonna make sure that it's rock solid, all the way around before we set out on any long trips. But it'll be a fun build, and it's something I get to share with my wife. She honestly does not care to be out like this, like I'm doing here. This is not her thing, and I understand that. I get it. There's a whole lot of things in this world that ain't my thing, and I'm just not gonna do them. So at least she doesn't mind me doing this. But she will camp. We travel, and we've camped together a bunch of times. We do have a big 32-foot pull behind camper, but that thing cost a fortune to drag it around. I firmly believe if you're going very far, it'd be cheaper to stay in a hotel than pay for the gas to drag that thing around. I think pulling that, my truck goes from getting 17 or 18 miles to the gallon down to getting somewhere between 7 and 9. So you feel it in your pocketbook. One of the reasons that we decided on an ambulance is they're just so well made. They're bulletproof. They're held to some serious federal standards as far as rollovers and that kind of stuff. So that box, unless you do something to make it leak, it's not going to leak. And if it ever did leak, it would be something very simple to fix. For many, many years, I was in the business of fixing leaks. And no, I was not a plumber. I was in the auto glass replacement business. And a lot of folks would come see us with leaky issues that honestly had nothing to do with windows at all. And motor homes, like the big Class A's, were just simply a nightmare. They're not well made. They're not, I would not recommend anybody, I wouldn't recommend it to an enemy to purchase a Class A RV and expect it to last very long. Because they just don't. They're not well made at all. But something like an ambulance, if you have time and limited skills, you can make it very nice on the inside. And, you know, much nicer rig to travel in. I mean, you could still park them. I mean, they're kind of wide, but you can still park in a normal parking spot. And doesn't, like, when I pull that big camper, we take up 5 or 6 parking spots. There's just a lot of places you can get. You know, maneuverability wise, an ambulance just made more sense, and it was ridiculously cheap. I'm pretty sure we bought it from an actual fire department, a volunteer fire department, and I think they just wanted to get it off their books. You know, I think they wasn't using it enough to justify it. It hasn't been an ambulance in many years. They used it as basically a rig to carry a lot of their stuff in a way for their guys to, you know, a place where they could get in and warm up if they were on a fire, or in the summertime get in and cool off. So it been out of service as an ambulance for a long time. But it's not a high mileage engine at all, especially for a diesel and a 7.3. It's not the Power Stroke diesel, but, you know, with very minimal maintenance, you can keep a 7.3 IDI on the road for many hundreds of thousands of miles. You just can't neglect them. And one of the first things I did when I got it was change the oil. You just never know what people do and how long. You know, it's a very, very rural, small fire department we got it from. And, you know, who knows how often they even had it out. And the guy I dealt with, he knew absolutely nothing about it. He was actually the fire chief, but he didn't know anything about that truck, other than he did tell me some things they had fixed on it. He didn't give me the receipts, but I have no reason not to believe him. He seemed like a real good feller. But like I said, I think they just wanted to get it off their books. I think they probably would have gave it away if they didn't need to show some kind of money changing hands. It was that kind of good deal. And it's got brand new all-terrain tires all the way around, hand cooks. So they spent some money on those tires, and, you know, they still have the little rubber titties all the way around them. So they'll see a lot of life, and it does have a spare. You know, a lot of times ambulances don't even have a spare. This one does have a spare, and it's underneath the back where it would be on a regular pickup, which is odd. But I took that down and greased everything and made sure that it had a jack in it that was the correct size, and the correct size lug wrench and all that stuff. So if a guy had a flat and had a good shoulder, he could probably change the tire. But, you know, I would probably call AAA if they wasn't going to be too long. My lighting is kind of nil here. But anyway, I tell you, kids, I'm going to finish roasting these smokies and eat a little something. And I'll get back with y'all in a little while and see if anything turns up. It's a pretty quiet night. It was pretty doggone windy when I first got out here. And then it calmed down. You know, it's been just over the last few nights, it's been getting plumb chilly here. And I think it will again tonight, and maybe tomorrow night. But there's a slight chance of rain for tomorrow. And then another slight chance after that. I think by Thursday, though, we're in for some toad stranglers. You know, the weather's supposed to get pretty rainy. But anyway, I have bored y'all long enough with my chatter. I'm going to get these smokies done, eat a little something, and I'll get back with y'all in a little while. Hey everybody, welcome back. It is getting pretty late and kind of chilly out here. I've been sitting around this fire for quite some time after eating my smokies and my chips. It was all real good, but I am tired. It's been a long day. So I do believe I am going to go inside and turn a movie on and see how far I get with that. But I will be right back here for breakfast in the morning. We'll have a little bacon and eggs and coffee. And I didn't bring my grill. I would cook it right over the fire, but I didn't bring my grill to go over across the top of it. Like I said, I was in a huge rush throwing all that stuff together. So, I was bound to forget something, and I don't think I have. I might have a grill plate or something in one of my kitchen boxes. We'll see. But anyway, I'm going to turn in, and I will see y'all first thing in the morning. Ooh, good morning, kids. It is about 4:15 a.m. It was a good night. I tell you, there is so much room in that thing compared to, what I'm used to sleeping in. And the bed was just short of comfortable. The top mattress out of my rooftop tent is all I'm sleeping on in there. It's I think it's 3 inches. It ain't enough to do it for me. So I'll be glad when we put the big mattress in there, because that was, it wasn't totally uncomfortable, but I have slept better lately than that. But it was nice. I can, just short of standing all the way up in there, if I turned my head just, a good amount, or put a little bend in my knees, I could walk around in there pretty good. But, which is a lot more room than I ever had in my truck bed or in my trailer. I can't even come close, can barely sit up in there, much less stand up. It's different. I could stand up in there and put my clothes on. That was nice. And there's room, you can change your mind in there and not even bump into anything. So all in all, a good night. And I didn't have any heat in there, but and it got kind of chilly outside. I don't know what the low temperature was for the overnight, but it was chilly outside, but it stayed extremely warm on the inside. I probably could have got by with just covering up with a sheet. It was so warm in there. So I'm very happy about that. But anyway, got my fire going, got coffee on the stove, already hot. It's daylight around 6, so that's probably when I'll start putting some breakfast together. I'm just gonna sit around this fire and drink me some coffee and enjoy being out here. It's been about a month, I guess, since I posted my last video, which I don't, sometimes I don't do this for, I don't do it for the money. I don't do it for anything like that. I do it because I enjoy it. So, but I was so used to putting a video out at least every week, right up until I guess I had my shoulder surgery, and that set me back for about a month of not making a video. And man, that really bothered me. And having gone this long again has bothered me quite a bit. But I don't know that many people watch me, but I did have one viewer, subscriber. He actually reached out to me and just wanted to make sure everything was all right, because I hadn't posted a video in quite some time, and that's been a couple of weeks ago. But I was right in the middle of that snowstorm and all that stuff when he reached out. So I explained to him where I was and what I was doing, that I had not been kidnapped or shanghaied or any of that. And I assured him I would get back to making videos as quick as I could. Honestly, I had every intention of shooting a video in Wisconsin when we went on that glamping trip, because my wife was going to be with me, which is very rare on any kind of camping occasion. But anyhow, I guess I'm going to let y'all get back to what you was doing. It's a little early to be waking you up, but I can't help myself. This is just when I get up, no matter where I'm at. Hey everybody, welcome back. I finally got daylight enough to see what I was doing without burning myself here. That's where we're at right now. It's shaping up to be a beautiful day. Sun's a few minutes before it comes up over the tops of those trees over there, but it should be a sunny day. And I think it might warm up pretty good. It's pretty chilly right now. I'm just cooking this bacon, get my potato cut up, get it ready to cook, and then I'll get back with y'all in a little bit. Hey everybody, welcome back. I got through breakfast and everything was good. Did up my dishes and kind of cleaned up and packed a few things up. I think I'm going to put this fire out and go on home and work on the ambulance for a while. I'm tasked with getting all these decals off of it, and there's just a ton of stuff to do, and I'm never going to get it done if I don't get started on it. So it has been a quick but enjoyable camping trip. I have thoroughly enjoyed myself. It was a good break, but I do believe it is time to go home. So I'm going to put this fire out and wrap this thing up. I do appreciate you being with me on this one. Hopefully you've watched all the way to the end and you're hearing this. If you have watched to the end and you haven't liked and subscribed yet, please do that. I can take all the subscribers I can get. It doesn't cost you a dime. But anyway, thanks so much, and I will see you soon in the woods.